Now. Hello everyone, good morning. I am presenting this Rohm and Haas case on behalf of Group 15. My group mates are Rishabh, Harsha, Mudita and Sharon. So I guess people have been already talking about it for last 1.5 hours and you guys are already aware of so many details of the cases. So I won't go into the details a lot regarding the facts of the cases, but rather I will put more emphasis on what our recommendations are. But just to give a brief overview, Cathon MWX was the product launched by Rohm and Haas in December 1983, and they initially thought that they would sell around $0.2 million in the next year, but in 5 months it was just around $12,000, and then now they are taking a look at the marketing strategy, what is failing and what is not succeeding for them. So some of the important challenges that they have when the survey was done was one of them was safety. People were not really aware of how safe the product is to use, how easy to use, how safe it is to handle and to dispense. Secondly, people were not really aware of the value proposition. A lot of the customers of this current product were small businesses and individual small companies whose main target capacity was less than 1,000 gallons. And so for them, they were not really aware of any particular brand that is there. And most of them were also not getting the product because there was a reachability issue. Everyone, a lot of these companies wanted to go within a 30-mile distance to actually get the product. So we have to look at the challenges in this context of how we can give the value proposition in terms of the cost, in terms of safety, and in terms of longevity. Because one of the big problem is, it doesn't last longer. The metalworking fluid, because of the heat, because the bacteria and all those organisms gets produced, the fluid doesn't last longer, and there is a heavy cost associated with dispensing of the fluid. Because you have not just have to dispense the fluid, you have to also take the cost of dispensing. So, and plus after every in the survey it was said that after every 3 to 4 weeks the consumers have to actually, the businesses have to dispose of the fluid, which was actually a pretty big in terms of monetary loss for them. And what Cathon MWX does is, it does actually, it increases the life by around an average of 2 to 5 weeks, which is like, even if you take the average, it's like 3.5 weeks, which is like almost 4 to 7.5 weeks, double. The longevity is really increased because of the product. So I would go forward with some of the recommendations. So first is, as I was talking about, emphasize the safety, cost and longevity of the product to customers through print ads and through the sales force. So the safety, I mean, we have to go to the customers and say that, it is safe to use, it is safe to handle and dispense because of the way it is packaged and the way it is used. Then regarding the cost, I mean, what we did when we did a cost analysis, we found that, the amount of money the customers are losing is like tremendous. A lot of people have already pointed out it is almost $10,000 for 22 machines, or around $400 to $450 per machine that you are losing out. The third part, I was talking about the longevity. You have a product, you have a metalworking fluid that lasts for 4 weeks. Instead, you can just double it and make it for almost 8 weeks. So we have to communicate to our customers these values through our ads. The second point is offer improved margin to the distribution channels. I mean, we have to take a look at what are the distribution channels are. Currently, most of our distribution channels for the Rohm and Haas is through formulators. They are the people who are, who are already distributing their earlier product, Cathon 886, and they were the main distribution channel for this new product. But the problem here is a lot of the users in this case, or the current target segment in this case, is one that very small users, and they they don't go and buy a lot, and for the current distribution channels, the formulators, it really doesn't make sense, or they don't have a lot of incentive, because 90% of their market is actually based on selling metalworking fluids. So for them, it is not a very, it's not very beneficial for them in terms of monetary beneficial for them to sell this product. Plus another aspect of this is, if you look at the margins, these are the margins that is there, Dow, Sil, Tresnet Pro, and depending on the number of box sizes that is there, the dealer margins that they are getting. So that's not a lot, and so what we need to do is, what we felt was we have to eliminate completely the distribution channel in terms of formulators and go to industrial supply houses and machine tool shops, because almost all the small businesses go exclusively to these shops. These shops have much wider reach, and if we can actually remove the formulators and go to these people for directly selling them, then and in that way offer better margins, because currently distributors were getting between $1 to $1.25, and then they were the end price for them, when they were selling to either to this industry supply houses or to the customers with on an average $2 or even much more. So if we can remove that level and sell it directly to the industry supply houses and machine tool shops, then it's going to give them a much more incentive to sell the product. If we can sell them to for a value like similar to $1.2 or $1, around $1.2 to $1, then they will get almost a double margin, because currently if the industry supply houses are selling it to $2.2 to the end customers or small businesses, they are just getting a 10% margin. So instead, this is almost going to give them a 50% margin. Plus, it also suits their business, because they are the primary place where this kind of our target customer segments will go. So these are three of the small points that industry supply houses and machine tool shops have advantage. One is exclusive reliance of small companies. So small companies rely on them very exclusively, the point I was touching about briefly. The second is the private branding. So private branding, this was another disadvantage in terms of for the formulators, that they wanted to have private labels because they wanted to sell their own products, and that's the way they have been doing for the earlier products, including Cathon 886. But this Rohm and Haas, in this product, they wanted to put forward their brand image, and for that they didn't want any private branding. So they can do that really well with the small machine tool shops and industry supply houses. And lastly, the greater influence. So I mean, when there is a big formulator and he has a lot of products to sell, his volume is much more, and so he doesn't have that much incentive, or the Rohm and Haas doesn't have that much control over the formulator. Rather than they will have more over the industry supply houses and machine tool shops. So these are some of the recommendations that we found that were really beneficial and for moving the product forward. And lastly, the ad. If we see, is our good friend Rishabh, who is like tired of hauling liquid after every 3 to 4 weeks, and so we come up with this. We come up with an ad which says extended fluid life, safety in handling, ease of use, minimize machine downtime, is easily disposable, and wide pH range, and say no to bacteria, fungi, formaldehyde odor. So that's it.
3 to 4 weeks is a lifetime period after extending life.
No, in Exhibit 6, it is like 3 to 4 weeks they dispose, and it is said that 2 to 5 weeks you get extended if you are using Cathon 886. It's written in Exhibit 6.
Cathon
MW.
Yeah.
MW. Yeah.
When you use in your print ad, targeting your industry customers with such an ad from a person carrying fluid, which will always have some other crane pulling the fluid in other ways. How do you intend to target customers with that?
So we want to convey this value proposition that people are like really tired of hauling the metalworking fluid every time after every 3 weeks. There is something like you can. The idea is not to show that person is carrying the big drum on his back. The idea is to show that what are the challenges that you face when you are going discarding the fluid every time, and then people the the businesses can realize this, because a lot of them are not aware of the cost associated or the cost they are paying because they have to discard every time. So seeing an ad like this, it promotes him to think that, okay, this is the cost that I am incurring because I am discarding the fluid every time after 3 weeks. So why not go for an option which will really help me in increasing the longevity.